Marcus Chen looked nothing like a billionaire. Standing outside Bella Vista, one of Manhattan's most exclusive restaurants, he wore torn jeans, a stained jacket, and shoes held together with duct tape. His beard was unkempt, his hair matted. To anyone passing by, he was just another homeless man on the street, which was exactly the point. Marcus had built his fortune, $3.2 billion in tech and real estate, on a simple principle. People reveal their true character when they think you can't do anything for them. For the past 5 years, he'd been conducting what he called humanity tests, appearing in disguise at businesses across the country, documenting how they treated people society had deemed worthless. Today's target was Bella Vista, owned by Catherine Morrison, a woman who'd recently given a speech about community values and treating everyone with dignity. Marcus had read the article. Beautiful words. Now he wanted to see if she meant them. He pushed open the restaurant's glass door. The hostess, a young woman in her 20s, looked up from her podium and her smile immediately vanished. "I'm sorry, we're fully booked." Marcus looked around the half-empty dining room. "Looks like you have tables." "Those are reserved." Her voice was cold, dismissive. She'd already made her assessment. Homeless, black, not worth her time. "I have money." Marcus pulled out a crumpled $20 bill. "I just want a meal." "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private establishment. The sign outside says you're open to the public." The hostess's jaw tightened. "Emily, call security." Another server had already moved to the phone. Within moments, a large man in a suit approached. "Sir, you need to leave. Now." "I haven't done anything wrong. I just want to buy food." "You're disturbing our guests." The security guard gripped Marcus's arm harder than necessary. "Don't make this difficult." Marcus let himself be led toward the door, but not before pulling out his phone, hidden in his jacket pocket, recording everything, and making sure to capture the hostess's face, the security guard's excessive force, and most importantly, the woman watching from the kitchen entrance. Catherine Morrison, owner of Bella Vista, had emerged to see what the commotion was about. She looked at Marcus with the same disgust as her staff, then nodded approvingly as security pushed him out the door. "Thank you for keeping our restaurant safe," Marcus heard her tell the guard. Safe from what? A man asking to buy food? Marcus stood on the sidewalk, straightening his jacket, and smiled. He had everything he needed. Back at his penthouse apartment, Marcus reviewed the footage with his assistant, Jennifer Park. "Same pattern as the others," Jennifer said, watching the hostess's face twist with contempt. She didn't even try to hide it. "And Morrison?" Marcus asked. "Did you get her reaction?" Jennifer pulled up a still image, Catherine Morrison watching the ejection with cold satisfaction. "She was the one who nodded for security to remove you." She could have intervened. She chose not to. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Over the past 5 years, he'd tested 147 businesses. 73 had passed, treating him with basic dignity despite his appearance. 74 had failed, some worse than others. But Morrison's was special. She'd built her brand on compassion and community. Her restaurant hosted charity events. She'd written op-eds about treating service workers with respect, all while teaching her staff to throw homeless people into the street. "What's the plan?" Jennifer asked. "The usual. But this time, I want to go bigger. Morrison's built her entire image on being progressive and compassionate. Let's see how that holds up when the public sees who she really is." Marcus had developed a system over the years. Phase 1, document the discrimination. Phase 2, return in his real identity and reveal the test. Phase 3, post the footage online and let the court of public opinion do its work. Some business owners apologized and changed. Others doubled down and lost everything. He had a feeling Morrison would be the latter. 3 days later, Marcus walked into Bella Vista again. But this time, he wore a $5,000 suit, designer shoes, and his signature Patek Philippe watch. His beard was trimmed, his hair styled. He looked like exactly what he was, a billionaire who could buy the restaurant 10 times over. The same hostess who'd dismissed him greeted him with a dazzling smile. "Welcome to Bella Vista. Do you have a reservation?" "No, but I'd like to speak with the owner. Tell her Marcus Chen is here." The name recognition was immediate. The hostess's eyes widened. The Marcus Chen? From Chen Technologies? That's me. She practically ran to get Catherine Morrison, who emerged from her office with practiced grace and a welcoming smile. She was in her 40s, impeccably dressed, projecting an air of refined hospitality. "Mr. Chen." "What an honor. Please, come to my private dining room. Can I get you anything? Champagne? Our chef can prepare whatever you'd like." Marcus smiled pleasantly. "Actually, I'm not here to eat. I'm here to talk about an incident that happened 3 days ago." Catherine's smile faltered slightly. "An incident?" "Yes. A man came into your restaurant asking to buy food. He was thrown out by your security guard. Do you remember?" There are many customers every day." This man was black, dressed in old clothes, appeared homeless. You personally watched him being removed, even nodded your approval. Catherine's face went pale. "Mr. Chen, if there was some misunderstanding—" "No misunderstanding. Let me show you something." Marcus pulled out his phone, queued up the video. "This is your hostess telling that man you're fully booked, despite having empty tables. This is your security guard using excessive force to remove him. And this," he paused the video on Catherine's face, "this is you, watching it happen, approving it." Catherine stared at the screen, her mind clearly racing. "I don't understand." "Why would you, Sadney?" "Because that man was me, Ms. Morrison. I conduct these tests regularly. I want to see how businesses treat people who can't do anything for them. People society has decided don't matter." Marcus put his phone away. "Your restaurant failed. Spectacularly. This is entrapment." "No, it's reality. I asked to buy food with money in my hand. Your staff threw me out because of how I looked. You could have intervened. You chose not to." Marcus stood. "I'm going to post this video on my social media accounts. I have 47 million followers across platforms. They're going to see exactly who you are when you think no one important is watching." "Wait. Please, you can't do this. It will destroy my business." "You destroyed your business the moment you decided some people aren't worthy of basic human dignity." Marcus walked toward the door, then paused. "You gave a beautiful speech last month about treating everyone with respect. You should have meant it." Marcus posted the video that evening. Within an hour, it had 1 million views. Within 6 hours, 10 million. By morning, it was the #1 trending topic on Twitter and had been picked up by every major news outlet. The comments were brutal. "This is disgusting." She smiled at him in the suit and threw him out in old clothes. Proof that progressive business owners only care about people who can afford their prices. "That security guard needs to be fired. That wasn't removing someone. That was assault." News crews descended on Bella Vista. Catherine Morrison issued a statement. "Bella Vista has a policy of serving all customers. This was an unfortunate misunderstanding. We're reviewing our procedures." But Marcus wasn't done. He posted a follow-up video, a compilation of the 10 other restaurants in Manhattan he'd tested over the past year. 7 had failed, 3 had passed, treating him with dignity regardless of his appearance. He announced he was giving $1 million to each of the 3 compassionate establishments. These restaurants prove that humanity isn't about wealth or status. It's about seeing people as people, support businesses that pass the test, boycott the ones that fail. The backlash against Bella Vista intensified. Reservations were canceled, staff quit. Protesters gathered outside with signs, "Dignity for everyone" and "We see you, Catherine." Catherine Morrison's carefully cultivated image was crumbling in real time. Her op-eds about compassion were resurfaced and mocked. Her charity events were canceled. Business partners distanced themselves. She called Marcus repeatedly. He didn't answer. She issued another statement, this time with more contrition. "I failed. I'm deeply sorry. I'm closing Bella Vista temporarily to retrain staff and examine my own prejudices." It wasn't enough. The internet had already convicted her. And Marcus, watching from his penthouse as her empire collapsed, felt the familiar mix of satisfaction and sadness. Satisfaction that discrimination had been exposed. Sadness that it had taken a billionaire in disguise to reveal what should have been obvious. Every human being deserves to be treated with dignity. His phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Morrison's on the news. She's crying. Says she's learned her lesson. Marcus typed back, they always say that when they're caught. Let's see if she means it. Because Marcus Chen had learned something in 5 years of testing humanity. Some people change when exposed. Others just get better at hiding who they really are. The question was, which one was Catherine Morrison? Catherine Morrison sat in her empty restaurant, watching the protesters outside through the window. 3 days had passed since Marcus Chen's video went viral, and Bella Vista was bleeding. Revenue down 87%, staff resignations, vendors refusing to work with her, her reputation destroyed, her publicist had quit, her investors were demanding meetings, and every news outlet wanted a statement. Catherine had spent her entire adult life building this image, the compassionate restaurateur, the woman who cared about community, the progressive business owner. She'd believed her own press, but Marcus Chen had held up a mirror, and she didn't recognize the person staring back. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Miss Morrison? This is Father Miguel Rodriguez from St. Anthony's Community Kitchen. I saw the video. I'd like to speak with you. Catherine braced herself for another lecture. I know what you're going to say. I failed. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm calling to offer you a chance at redemption. If you're willing to work for it. They met at the Community Kitchen, a place Catherine had never been despite it being 6 blocks from her restaurant. Father Miguel, a man in his 60s with kind eyes and weathered hands, led her through a space that was nothing like Bella Vista, folding tables, mismatched chairs, industrial kitchen. We serve 300 meals a day, Father Miguel explained, to anyone who needs them, no questions asked, no judgment. He looked at Catherine. I've watched your video probably 20 times now, and you know what I see? Someone who forgot where food comes from, what it means, who it's for. I never forgot. You forgot that hunger doesn't care about appearance, that dignity isn't earned by how much money someone has, that every person who walks through your door deserves respect. Father Miguel paused. But I also see someone who can change. If she wants to. What do you want me to do? Work here. 1 month, minimum wage, serve meals, clean tables, listen to the people you serve, really listen, learn who they are. Father Miguel smiled. Then maybe you'll understand what Mr. Chen was trying to teach you. Catherine wanted to refuse. She had a business to save, a reputation to rebuild. But looking around the community kitchen, seeing the volunteers preparing food with more care than her Michelin-trained chefs ever showed, she realized Father Miguel was right. She'd forgotten what food was for, who it was for, why it mattered. When do I start? The first day was brutal. Catherine, who hadn't worked a service job in 20 years, found herself overwhelmed by the pace, serving meals to hundreds of people, cleaning tables, washing dishes. Her hands, usually manicured and soft, were red and raw by afternoon. But worse than the physical labor was facing the people she served. An elderly black man shuffled through the line. Bless you, sister, he said when she handed him his tray. Catherine froze. This man looked similar to Marcus Chen in disguise. Same weathered clothes, same tired eyes, and she'd thrown someone exactly like him out of her restaurant. You okay? The man asked, noticing her tears. I'm sorry, Catherine whispered. I'm so sorry. He patted her hand gently. We all mess up, sister. What matters is what we do after. Over the following weeks, Catherine learned names, stories, lives. She met Teresa, a single mother working 3 jobs who came in for dinner because it was the only meal she could afford. She met James, a veteran with PTSD who'd lost everything. She met Maria, an immigrant who spoke little English but had the brightest smile Catherine had ever seen. Each person reminded her of the man she'd thrown out. Each person could have been Marcus Chen in disguise. Each person deserved better than what she'd given. Father Miguel watched her transformation. You're starting to see them. I never realized. I thought I was compassionate. I hosted charity dinners, donated to causes. That's not compassion. That's performance. Father Miguel handed her a stack of plates. Compassion is seeing the humanity in someone even when they can't do anything for you. even when no one's watching, even when it costs you something. Catherine thought about Marcus Chen's test. She'd failed because she'd never learned this lesson. She'd built her entire identity on appearing compassionate while treating vulnerable people as invisible. "I want to reopen Bella Vista," Catherine said one evening, "but differently. I want to do a community meal program, 1 day a week, free meals for anyone who needs them. No questions, no judgment." Father Miguel smiled. "That's a start. But here's my question. Will you do it when the cameras leave, when it's not rebuilding your image, when it's just you and the people who need help?" Catherine didn't answer immediately, because that was the real test, wasn't it? Not the performance of compassion, but the practice of it. Not the image, but the reality. After 4 weeks at St. Anthony's, Catherine reached out to Marcus Chen. He agreed to meet, not at a restaurant, but at the community kitchen. Marcus arrived in casual clothes, neither disguised nor ostentatious. He sat across from Catherine in the same folding chairs where she'd served hundreds of meals. "Thank you for coming," Catherine began. "I need to apologize, really apologize, not the publicist-written statement I issued, a real apology. I'm listening. When I saw you that day, I saw someone I'd been taught to fear, someone who didn't belong in my space. I convinced myself I was protecting my restaurant, my customers, my business, but I was really protecting my own prejudices." Catherine's voice shook. "You were right. I preached compassion and practiced discrimination. I'm sorry." Marcus studied her. "A lot of people apologize when they're caught." "How do I know you mean it?" "You don't. You'll have to watch what I do next." Catherine explained her plan for Bella Vista, the community meal program, the commitment to serve everyone regardless of appearance or ability to pay, the staff training on dignity and bias. "And if it hurts your business? If your wealthy customers don't like seeing homeless people in your restaurant, then they're not the customers I want." Catherine meant it. 4 weeks of serving meals had changed her. "I'm also closing Bella Vista for good." Marcus looked surprised. "What?" "I'm converting it into a non-profit community restaurant. Meals on a sliding scale, pay what you can, from 0 to full price. The profits fund free meals for those who need them." Catherine handed him a folder. "I've already started the paperwork. I'm giving up ownership. It'll be run by a board that includes people experiencing homelessness." Marcus flipped through the documents, genuine shock on his face. "You're serious?" "I have 3 other restaurants that are profitable. I don't need Bella Vista's income. But this city needs more places where everyone is welcome, where dignity isn't determined by your bank account." Catherine paused. "I can't undo throwing you out. But I can make sure no one else is thrown out for being poor or looking different. This will cost you millions. Money I made by excluding people. Maybe it's time I used it to include them instead." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. "I'm going to post a follow-up video, showing what you're doing. Some people won't believe you've changed. They'll say it's for publicity. Let them. I'm not doing this for applause. I'm doing it because Father Miguel was right. I forgot what food is for, who it's for, why it matters." Catherine stood. "You tested me, Mr. Chen. I failed. But I'm grateful you did, because otherwise I would have kept failing without ever knowing it." Marcus posted the follow-up video 3 days later. It showed Catherine working at St. Anthony's, serving meals with genuine care. It included her announcement about converting Bella Vista into a community restaurant. It featured testimonials from Father Miguel and others who'd worked with her. The response was mixed. Some praised her transformation, others called it performative. But Catherine didn't read the comments. She was too busy working, training staff, renovating Bella Vista, learning from people experiencing homelessness about what kind of space would truly serve them. 6 months after Marcus's original test, the new Bella Vista opened. The sign outside read, "Everyone welcome, no exceptions." True to her word, Catherine implemented the sliding scale. Some customers paid full price, some paid what they could, some paid nothing, and everyone, regardless of how they looked, what they wore, how much money they had, received the same excellent food, the same respect, the same dignity. Marcus visited on opening night, this time as himself. Catherine seated him personally. "Thank you," she said simply. For what? Humiliating you on the internet? For showing me who I really was? For giving me a chance to become someone better? Catherine handed him a menu. First meals on the house. After that, sliding scale like everyone else. Marcus smiled. That's fair. As he looked around the restaurant, seeing wealthy professionals dining beside homeless veterans, seeing staff treating everyone with genuine warmth, Marcus thought about his 5 years of testing businesses. Most failed and stayed failed. Some, like Catherine, failed and chose to change. The question he always asked was whether the change would last, whether it was real or just image rehabilitation. Only time would tell. But for now, Bella Vista had passed the most important test of all, choosing humanity over profit, dignity over image, real compassion over performed kindness. 1 year after Marcus Chen's test, Bella Vista had become something Catherine Morrison never imagined when she first opened her doors. The restaurant served 1,200 meals weekly. 400 paid full price, 300 paid reduced rates, 500 were completely free. And it was thriving. The critics who'd predicted financial collapse were proven wrong. Wealthy customers, inspired by the mission, often paid extra to subsidize others. Corporate groups booked events specifically because of Bella Vista's values. The restaurant had become proof that profit and compassion weren't opposites, but the real transformation was in Catherine herself. She arrived at 6 a.m. most mornings, not to manage from an office, but to work alongside her staff. She knew the regular customers by name, both those who paid and those who didn't. She'd learned that Marcus, the formerly homeless veteran who came in daily, had saved 3 lives during his military service. That Teresa, the single mother, was studying nursing at night. That James was teaching himself coding through free online courses. They weren't the homeless or the poor anymore. They were Marcus, Teresa, and James, people with stories, dreams, struggles, and dignity. One morning, Catherine found Marcus Chen sitting at a corner table, this time in casual clothes but with an expensive leather bag. Mr. Chen, I wasn't expecting you. Just Marcus, please, and I come by every few months, see how things are going. He gestured to the seat across from him. Mind if we talk? Catherine sat, nervous despite the progress she'd made. Marcus's opinion still mattered, not for her image, but because he'd been right about everything. I've been watching, Marcus said. Not just this restaurant. I've been tracking your other locations too. You implemented the same policies at all 3 restaurants. Sliding scale pricing, staff training on dignity and bias, board representation from community members. It was the right thing to do. Expensive, but right. Your profit margins dropped 12% across all locations. Catherine nodded. She wouldn't lie. Yes. But our customer loyalty increased by 40%. Our staff retention went up 60%, and we're feeding 3,000 people a week who couldn't afford restaurant meals before. I'll take that trade. Marcus pulled out his tablet. I want to show you something. Remember how I said I test 147 businesses? How could I forget? You're one of only 7 that truly changed. Most apologized, made minor adjustments, then went back to old habits once the attention faded. Marcus turned the screen toward her. But you didn't. You rebuilt your entire business model around the lesson you learned. That's rare. Catherine felt unexpected emotion rising. For a year, she'd worked without knowing if Marcus approved, if her transformation was enough, if she'd truly made amends. I want to feature Bella Vista in a documentary I'm producing, Marcus continued, about businesses that passed the second test, the test of sustained change. Would you be interested? What would that involve? Honesty. Talking about who you were before, what the test revealed, how hard the change was. No image management, no PR spin, just truth. Marcus met her eyes. The internet loves redemption stories, but only if they're real. Catherine thought about the old version of herself, image-obsessed, performing compassion while practicing discrimination. That woman would have jumped at the publicity opportunity, but would have wanted script approval, editing rights, control of the narrative. The new Catherine understood that real redemption meant giving up control of the story. I'll do it. On one condition. You also feature the people this restaurant serves. Their stories matter more than mine." Marcus smiled. Deal. The documentary filmed over 3 months. Cameras captured Catherine's daily routine, serving meals, cleaning tables, listening to stories. They interviewed customers across the economic spectrum. They documented the challenging moments when biases she thought she'd conquered still surfaced. One scene that made the final cut showed Catherine's initial discomfort when a man with obvious mental illness became agitated during lunch. Her instinct, before she caught herself, was to have him removed. Instead, she sat with him, spoke calmly, helped him feel safe. The cameras captured the entire interaction. "That moment," Catherine explained in her interview, "showed me I'm still learning, still fighting old programming. The difference is now I recognize it and choose differently." The documentary also featured Marcus explaining his testing philosophy. "I'm not trying to catch people being bad. I'm trying to show who we are when we think no one important is watching, because that's when our true character shows." The film premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival and was acquired by a major streaming platform. The response was overwhelming. Bella Vista's model was replicated by restaurants in 17 cities within 6 months. But the impact Catherine treasured most came in a letter from a teenager named Maya. "Dear Ms. Morrison, I'm 16 and I want to open a restaurant someday. Before your video, I thought success meant being exclusive, expensive, perfect. Now I understand success means being inclusive, accessible, and real. Thank you for showing me what kind of business owner I want to be." Catherine pinned the letter in her office. This, she realized, was the real measure of redemption, not just changing yourself, but inspiring others to be better from the start. 2 years after the test, Marcus Chen made one final visit to Bella Vista. This time, he brought someone with him, a woman in her 70s, impeccably dressed. "Catherine, I'd like you to meet my mother, Linda Chen." Linda looked around the restaurant with sharp, evaluating eyes. "So this is the place that humiliated my son." Catherine's stomach dropped. "Mrs. Chen, and then learned from it." Linda's stern expression softened slightly. "Marcus has tested 147 businesses. Most failed and stayed failures. You failed and chose to change. That takes courage." "It took humiliation," Catherine said honestly. "Your son held up a mirror. I didn't like what I saw. Most people would have hidden from that mirror. You looked straight at it." Linda sat down. "I'm here because Marcus wants to invest in your non-profit model. He thinks it can scale nationally. I'm here to decide if you're worthy of that investment." Over the next 2 hours, Linda interviewed Catherine with the precision of a prosecutor. About motivations, sustainability, commitment, challenges. About the moments when the old Catherine threatened to resurface. About whether this was redemption or just sophisticated image rehabilitation. Catherine answered every question honestly. The old her would have performed. The new her had learned that truth, however uncomfortable, was the only foundation for real change. Finally, Linda stood. "I'm recommending Marcus proceed with the investment, not because you're perfect now, but because you've proven you're willing to keep learning. That's rarer than you'd think." 5 years after Marcus's original test, Bella Vista's model had expanded to 43 cities. The documentary had won an Emmy. And Catherine Morrison, once known for exclusivity, was now known for inclusion. She still worked the morning shift most days, still knew regulars by name, still fought the old biases when they surfaced. Because she'd learned that transformation wasn't a destination, it was a practice, daily, imperfect, ongoing. One morning, a young woman in torn clothes entered Bella Vista. She looked terrified, like she expected to be thrown out. Catherine approached with a warm smile. "Welcome. What can we get you today?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I saw the video. The one from 5 years ago. I've been hungry for 2 days, but I was afraid to come in." "You never have to be afraid here. Everyone is welcome." Catherine led her to a table. "Let me bring you a menu. And take your time. No rush, no judgment." As Catherine walked back to the kitchen, she caught her reflection in a mirror. The woman looking back was older, grayer, with hands rougher from work, but her eyes held something the old Catherine's never had: peace. She'd failed Marcus Chen's test spectacularly, but that failure had become the greatest gift of her life, the chance to become someone worth being, not through performance or image, but through the daily practice of treating every person who walked through her door with the dignity they deserved. The protest signs were long gone. The viral video was old news, but the lesson remained, practiced in every meal served, every person welcomed, every moment of choosing humanity over prejudice. Marcus Chen had taught her that character isn't who you are when cameras are rolling, it's who you choose to be when no one's watching. And Catherine Morrison, once exposed and humiliated, had chosen to become someone better. Not perfect, just better. And committed to staying better, one meal, one interaction, one choice at a time. If this story touched you, remember that how we treat people who can't do anything for us reveals who we truly are. Compassion isn't about charity galas and publicity, it's about seeing the human in everyone, regardless of appearance, status, or wealth. Marcus Chen's test exposed Catherine Morrison's hypocrisy, but it also gave her the chance to change. Real redemption isn't about perfect transformation, it's about daily commitment to being better than you were. Support businesses that treat everyone with dignity. Hold those who don't accountable, and remember, the next homeless person you encounter might be a billionaire in disguise, but they deserve respect even if they're not.